Hey, in this video, I'm going to be talking about how I balance running a small business with being a homeschool mom of young kids. Hi, I am Rachel from 7 and All, and today's video is actually going to be part of a collab talking about being a working mom and homeschooling. This collab is hosted by Gina B from Gina B Homeschool, so definitely go and check out her channel. She is so sweet. Her kids they just love learning, and she has amazing hair. I'm a little bit jealous of all those curls. She's so great. She pulled together a bunch of moms who have kind of different type of working lifestyles, some in very traditional jobs, some in non-traditional jobs, to talk about how do you do that balance of work and homeschool. Because I think especially in modern homeschooling, Instagram, it kind of has this stigma that, oh, in order to homeschool, you have to be a stay-at-home mom. You have to have a husband who is making somehow enough money that your whole family can survive, and you don't have any other career other than just homeschooling. So you will definitely be able to check out the playlist for this collab. I will put that in my description and probably in the pinned comment down below so that you can find it. But I do want to give a shout out to some of the OG homeschool moms, the original homeschool moms who were working and homeschooling for many years, long before we had all this social media and great internet resources. The people who were homeschooling and working before it got easier as it is today. So my mom was one of those. She was a stay-at-home mom when I was young. I'm the oldest of 8 kids, as many of you know. But when I was a young teen, she started working. She has traveled for work quite a bit. She works a lot, and she has managed to keep a thriving homeschool and a big family going through all of that. I'm so impressed with her. She's my hero. And my mom's twin sister was also a working homeschooling mom. She has a YouTube channel herself, which is Sharon's Safe Haven. Her kids are grown now, but she was also working outside the house and homeschooling her kids during the day. So she had different types of shift work that she did. So if you are considering homeschooling and working, you can do it. You can find a way to make it work. It's not as easy, but you can find a way to make it work. I am going down a little bit of a different path because I'm talking about running a small business while homeschooling, which is very, very different from working in a traditional job. It's, I think, easier in a lot of senses, but also it does have some disadvantages. We'll talk about that. I just want to share my journey and share basically how I make it work. Now first, let me start off with, because possibly my great love and my great what I've always wanted to do with my life is maybe a little bit weird, so I'm going to start off with this. I have always wanted to be a writer, and everyone who has known me for my whole life, my grandparents, my parents, if you ask them what did Rachel want to be when she was a kid, they would say, well, she wanted to be a writer, which is a little bit unclear. How from the age of 5 years old do you want to be a writer? And you just go through your whole life thinking, yes, I want to write. Now, when I was a kid, this probably looked in my mind as something like Anne of Green Gables or Emily of New Moon, just being this kind of romantic person writing in some secluded area and sending off fiction stories to publishers and getting published. That has definitely looked quite a bit different in real life, and I have used the online world for writing quite a bit more. I have had articles published in print magazines, and I've written in blogs. I've written for a variety of websites. And in 2020, I actually got my biggest writing job ever so far. So that was really, really exciting. That was a huge accomplishment for me. As my writing career had slowly built and I've gotten more new opportunities, I had a very intense writing contract for a homeschool curriculum company. And I was super excited about that. And I did go through the whole contract and I completed it. But what I learned from that biggest opportunity to do my dream job ever was I learned it was maybe not the best thing for my family and for my season of life. I had a very small baby at the time who did not sleep. He has not He did not start sleeping through the night until about last month at the time that I'm filming this. So I had a small baby who didn't sleep. I had a young toddler as well. So in the very tiny margins of time, I was finding ways to, okay, write, meet this deadline, write, meet this deadline, do research, write, meet deadlines. It was not super great for the work-life balance of my family or for the sleep-life balance of me. So when I finished my contract, I did not renew for another contract. And that was kind of scary because you're like, oh yeah, I finally made it. I finally got, a steady writing job. That's the dream for a writer. But I had to say, actually at this season, this is not what I'm going to say yes to, and instead I'm going to do something much scarier and much less probably financially successful, financially reasonable at this time, is I'm going to go off on my own and start a small business, writing homeschool curriculum. So I'm still getting to do what I love, but I'm getting to have more of my own self-direction over it. I'm getting to write things that represent my philosophy of homeschool and write things that I feel need to be written. But I also get to write things slower, and I get to spend less hours on it, and I can go more at my own pace based on what's happening in my family. So that was the big motivation, to both have more freedom in what I was able to write and publish, creating things that I was very passionate about that needed creating, but also to be able to have a more slower pace because it was a lot for our family. My husband works full-time, he's doing grad school. We have very young children who, the children are kind of constant. And trying to work as many hours as I was working, it was not super healthy. I was able to do the whole contract. I'm very glad that I did, but it was not something we wanted to continue for years to come. So I can't stop writing. I started this business. I launched it with just a couple of purely preschool and puramente preescolar units back in March of 2021. So we're just past 6 months of being open. Now this business was launched to meet several big desires and dreams of mine. One was to have some kind of big family project that could meld a lot of the talents of my amazing family. I was able to have my younger sister, who's in college right now, create artwork for our curriculums. You can see her artwork they're right here, in our most latest release, which is our Christmas calendar. You can see some of her amazing artwork. I told her, create numbers, paint numbers, interwoven with symbols of Christmas. And she gave me these incredibly detailed pieces of art. This is for sale right now as our Christmas calendar unit. These cards, together with daily guides that I wrote that give you activities of things to do for all 25 days of December up until Christmas. It gives you readings about, what are these? Peace apples from China? What are these? I'm writing from my real experience of when we lived in China and we were given peace apples for Christmas. So this is an awesome example. Oh yeah, I'll show you the back. Yeah, see, peace apples, and the whole story about them. This is an awesome example of melding kind of the different talents of my family. I'm writing, I'm doing what I love, and my sister is getting to do what she loves of creating gorgeous, gorgeous artwork. She's an amazing artist. I'm so proud of her, if it wasn't entirely obvious already. But we're also mixing different talents of my family. My husband is translating all of our curriculums into Spanish, and he's also sometimes getting input from his parents, who are both from Mexico, for some of those more specialty words that he's just not used to using, or he's wanting to know, what do people really say in Mexico for a certain term. We're using, my brother is doing some of the graphic artwork, digital artwork that we need. My other sister has been doing digital design for us. So it's truly been a family project, melding a lot of skills and talents that we have, and we've gotten to talk so much, we've gotten to work together so much. So that was one big goal. The other big goal was creating curriculums that I felt there was a real need for and a real gap for. So one of our first big releases that I'm very, very proud of was the history of the English Bible. So it's a unit study covering just the history of the English Bible, all the way from when it was just people writing stuff down on scrolls and gathering up those scrolls, all the way until now when we have the Bible on our phones. It's really cool. I have a whole video about it, and several people are using it around the world. I'm really excited for that. But that was something that didn't exist in homeschool, that didn't exist in a very accessible way for kids to understand the story of where the English Bible came from. That was actually the first big thing I was really passionate about that made me want to write my own curriculum, was the history of the English Bible. So that's one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to create curriculum for things I was very passionate about. I wanted to create Spanish curriculum for bilingual homeschoolers, mainly in a very self-serving way, because I want to do literature-based homeschool, but I want it to incorporate Spanish so that we're not losing our Spanish-speaking roots in our family by doing too much English schoolwork. And I wanted to create very affordable homeschool that was also quality, because I've noticed that a lot of the more quality resources are very, very expensive. And I look at the price tags and I'm like, what? So I wanted to create quality resources that were easy to use, but also affordable. Because when I look at the free resources or the very affordable resources, a lot of them are not very open and go, they're not very easy to use, and they cause more headaches than they're worth. So you end up spending a lot of money on the easy to use stuff that's really expensive. So that's one of my passions. We have a lot of growing to do. We are still very small. You can follow us at Where'd You Learn That on Instagram, or you can find our website at www.where'dyoulearnthat.com. So we are, growing little by little. We now have a Where'd You Learn That homeschool community on Facebook. You can also find, I'll leave different links below in the description box if you want to follow our journey and see what different releases we're coming out with. But I'm excited, and I'm glad we did it. As scary as it was, I am glad we did it. Now I want to talk about, how do I realistically make this work, running a small business while also being full-time mom? Well, number one thing to talk about is finances. I should be very clear up front. We are not relying on Where'd You Learn That homeschool to pay any of our bills. And if you are thinking about starting a homeschool business, I would recommend, don't quit anything that you need don't quit any job that you are relying on to pay for your everyday life. Most small businesses are not going to be profitable in the first year. It can happen, but you shouldn't count on it. And that's not a wise thing to do. So start your small business, but keep any jobs that you really need for working on. We've always tried to, as much as possible, however my husband's income has varied through the years, we try to live within that. And then my income is more for our extra needs, for vacations, for travel, extra things we want to do with the kids. So because we were in that position, it was okay for me to end my contract at the end with my writing job and to start this business without having to think, oh, I need to make a certain amount of money each month in to be able to pay myself a certain amount to pay our bills. If we were in that place, we would have waited on starting the business, and I would have stayed in the writing contract to have a more steady job. I know some people are that adventurous. I am not that adventurous financially, and I don't 100% recommend it. I don't, because I'm just a little bit more cautious. Now, as far as time, when do I write these curriculums? That is the question, isn't it? Early morning time is my best work time. I am a morning person. My kids are also kind of morning people, so it can vary depending on the day, but if I can wake up at 5 and if they sleep until 7, I can get 2 hours in of work before they wake up, so that's a very good time for me. Also, sometimes I'll do afternoon work session if my husband takes them out to go to the park or takes them on some kind of special outing. Now, I am not skipping all of the afternoon and evening outings with my family. When I was working as a writer, I was skipping all the outings with my family, pretty much. All the fun with my family, I was having to skip that. And that was not very sustainable for us, I was doing all the work for my kids, but I wasn't getting to do any of the, fun and playtime, excursions that we would ever do. So I'm not skipping all the things, but maybe once in a week once a week or so, my husband will take them out to play and I will stay home and I'll just try to get as much work done as I can in that time. My general rule is I try to work when my kids are sleeping or work when they're just out with daddy doing something. Now a big factor I think in running a small business for me as a homeschool mom, as a mom of very young kids, is patience. I think any business owner would want their business to grow very, very quickly. For my business to grow more quickly, I would need to be creating more products. I would need to be doing more social media promotion and advertising. And I'm not doing more. I'm just doing what I can based on the time that I have. So it requires patience. I need to be okay with my business growing slowly because this amount of time is what I have and this amount of time is what I'm willing to put into it right now. I'm not willing to stress that my business is super tiny and it's unheard of by almost everyone because I haven't been able to, tell a whole lot of people about it because my kids are only going to be little for so long, and I don't want to look back on their little years and think, wow, I skipped all the family outings so that I could work on growing my business. Or wow, I was always trying to be on my phone and promoting and creating on my computer instead of being present with them. So I am very much a fully present kind of person. I don't like multitasking. I don't thrive with multitasking. When I'm working on my writing, I want to be fully in it, writing. When I'm with my kids, I want to be fully with them. Some brains handle multitasking better than others, and I'm not one of them. I don't thrive with that. So that's been a big part for me, is just patience. Listen, I'm okay to be super, super tiny and small right now. You guys can tell other people about Where'd You Learn That and about Purely Preschool and the Christmas calendar and the Bible history unit study. If you guys want to, you guys can tell other people about that for me. We can grow slowly. We can create new things slowly, little by little. And I do want more people to hear about our resources and have a chance to use them, but I'm okay to be patient with that. And I will say one of my big struggles is actually trying to talk about it or trying to advertise a little bit of what we've created, which I do realize is ridiculous because we don't get offended when, a pizza restaurant advertises to us that they have pizza. Then we're like, oh, that's good to know that they have pizza. Then I can go and get pizza from them sometime. We don't get mad, but I guess I always feel like, oh, people are going to think I'm so annoying if I let them know that I have these units or these books and resources that I've created. So I think that is one of the challenges of small businesses. You feel like self-conscious, like, oh, people are going to be so annoyed if I talk about it. I don't think they will. I think by and large, they're not. So just think about how you respond to larger businesses advertising to you, and don't worry about it so much. I don't think we get it as annoyed by other people as we always think people will be annoyed by us, if that makes sense. Well, I hope that you enjoyed hearing a little bit about my journey, what led me to starting a small business, what it's looking like so far. They say when you buy from a small business, a real person does a happy dance with every sale, and that is 100% true. I can guarantee it. I won't record it, but it's true. So thank you so much for all the many of you who have shared our products with your friends, who have used it with your kids. I get so excited when I see kids using the preschool curriculum and loving it, when I hear stories of kids saying, no, I want to do the fun preschool, and it's purely preschool. These stories truly do make my day. I'm so glad I did it. I'm glad I was brave enough, and I'm glad that all of you who have tried it were brave enough to take a chance on me when I'm not somebody who's, big and huge and established in the homeschool world. So, thank you.